Hey everyone, welcome back to Boruto Theory Zone. Chapter 21 has finally dropped, and what a chapter it is. We open with Sarada featured on the color page, setting the tone for what's undeniably a pivotal moment in the series. The title, Mangekyo Sharingan, tells us right away where the emotional and narrative weight of this chapter lies. The story unfolds with high-stakes tension. From the psychological pressure that triggers Sarada's Mangekyo awakening to the explosive confrontation on the battlefield, where she overwhelms Ryu with staggering force. What's especially compelling is how this chapter deepens the moral complexity of the conflict. We see more of Kashin Koji's strategic mind at play, revealing not just brilliance, but a chilling readiness to sacrifice allies like Yodo and even Konohamaru if it means achieving his ultimate objectives. It's a chapter packed with powerful emotion, unexpected turns, and key character developments. And it's clearly setting up Sarada's eyes as a major force in the story to come. Before we dive deeper, a huge thank you to all of you for your support. Your subscriptions, likes, and comments really keep this channel thriving. Now, let's break down this incredible chapter. Chapter 21 is heavy on flashbacks. In the first part of the manga, we are shown all the events that led to Sarada awakening her Mangekyo. Sarada is shown sharing her dream of becoming a Hokage like Naruto with her friend Chocho, who stays true to herself, replying that Sarada's hopes are very high, and that Chocho's dream is to find the love of her life. Sarada tells Chocho, nothing wrong with taking it easy. While Sarada's dream is to become a Hokage like the 7th, Boruto is dreaming to become like Sasuke, the Shadow Hokage that will play the support role and protect Sarada. Another flashback shows Sumire asking Sarada if she was bothered because Boruto is popular with girls. This flashback comes from Chapter 19 of Boruto Volume 5. Sarada replies, "Of course not." Sumire then acknowledges, "Well, it certainly bothers me." In this scene, Sumire opens up to Sarada about her feelings towards Boruto. If Chocho is still looking for the man of her dreams, Sumire seems to have already found him. If you go back to Chapter 19, you will see that not only Sumire tells Sarada how she felt about Boruto, but more importantly, she seems to be asking Sarada if she was her rival in the race towards Boruto's heart. Sumire seems happy to learn that Sarada is not her rival, and before leaving, Sumire asks Sarada to take care of Boruto and everyone else with an accomplice look, as she blinks at her. Sarada now knows about Sumire's secret love, which she needs to protect. We see Sarada's unease in her face as she looks back at Sumire. Back to Chapter 21, the answer to Sumire's question comes from another Sarada's flashback, this time of Naruto defining the meaning of a Hokage, which is the one who thinks of everyone in the village like family. Until Yodo's last words, the only feelings that Sarada allowed herself to have are those of a Hokage. No personal feelings are allowed to exist within her. Her goal has always been clear since she was little, to become a Hokage like Naruto. As a Hokage, Naruto Uzumaki embodies a deep love and connection with every member of the Hidden Leaf Village, treating them all like family. His leadership isn't just about responsibility, it's rooted in a genuine care for each person's well-being and growth. Whether guiding the next generation of shinobi or comforting those in times of hardship, Naruto's warmth and compassion create a bond that unites the village as one resilient community, where everyone feels valued and supported under his watchful and caring leadership. We see another flashback of Sarada and her self-loathing as she thinks that she is not an amazing ninja compared to Naruto. That's why she can't waste her time thinking about pointless things. Sarada has closed her heart to any romantic, selfish love. Only her dream matters, becoming a Hokage like the 7th. Sarada's next flashback goes to the scene where Kawaki slashed Boruto's eye as he protected her from Kawaki's attack. Kawaki tells her, "Beat it, Sarada. How many more times are you going to get in my way until you're satisfied?" Maybe, She finally understands that even Kawaki is just doing his job to protect Konoha from the threat which is Momoshiki. It is not Boruto that he wants gone, but Momoshiki. However, the only way to get rid of Momoshiki is by killing Boruto. Kawaki, just like Boruto, sacrificed his sanity as a human being by deciding to take on this mission of killing a brother that no other Konoha ninja would do. Sarada is profoundly affected by Boruto's situation. She remembers her distress when she heard Shikamaru talking about Naruto's death and how everyone in the village hunted Boruto. The flashback shows Ada's omnipotence and Sumire explanation, while Sarada was feeling helpless and sorry for Boruto. This sequence of flashbacks explains all the traumatic events that led to Sarada awakening of her Mangekyo. Next, the manga pivots to a flashback centered on Sasuke and Boruto, likely set shortly after their departure from the Hidden Leaf Village. This sequence shifts the narrative lens from Sarada's internal transformation to an external discussion of her newfound power, framing her Mangekyo not only as a personal evolution, but as a force of future narrative significance. In this scene, Boruto, still bearing the bandage over the eye Kawaki injured, listens as Sasuke elaborates on the nature of the Mangekyo. Sasuke defines it as a rare mutation of the Uchiha's Sharingan, triggered only through moments of intense psychological or emotional trauma. He says it's a mutation of the Sharingan that Uchiha possess. Awakening is triggered when you receive an extreme mental or emotional shock. Though Sasuke's memory has been altered by Ida's omnipotence, despite her and Daemon being the last people he encountered before leaving the village, he intuitively senses that Sarada's eyes hold immense potential. He believes that her Mangekyo Sharingan will prove instrumental in the battles to come, even if Sarada herself has yet to fully comprehend the nature of her awakening. Sasuke trusts that she will come to understand this power on an instinctive level. This conversation implicitly acknowledges the enduring power of inherited will and familial bonds. Even stripped of factual memory, Sasuke's conviction in Sarada's importance remains intact, reinforcing the idea that some truths transcend manipulation. His words suggest that Sarada's evolution is not just a moment of personal crisis, but a narrative pivot point with far-reaching consequences. This thematic thread leads into a broader issue central to the current arc: Ida's ability, omnipotence. Sarada's role becomes increasingly significant as she is unaffected by its influence. Ida's power doesn't merely inspire admiration, it enforces a subconscious and involuntary devotion. The effect is universal and indiscriminate, compelling love, loyalty, or obsessive attachment in those who see her, regardless of gender or orientation. Victims of omnipotence are unaware of the manipulation, convinced that their feelings are genuine and self-generated. Sasuke himself becomes a case study in the effectiveness of Ida's power. By chapter 21, he has completely forgotten the nature of omnipotence, though he vaguely recognizes that something extraordinary occurred. This forgetfulness, combined with his inability to recall Ida's role, exemplifies how deeply her power has warped collective memory and perception. Sarada, however, stands apart. When she and Sumire were summoned by Ida, they immediately observed how others fell under her spell. Yet Sarada's reaction diverged. Upon making direct eye contact with Ida, she experienced not adoration, but terror, overwhelmed by the sheer scale of Ida's power. Unlike those around her, Sarada perceived the truth. Ida is not a charismatic girl blessed with beauty and charm, but a being of overwhelming, almost incomprehensible might, one that echoes the power and terror of the Otsutsuki themselves. In this sense, Sarada's immunity to omnipotence positions her uniquely within the narrative. She is not only emotionally and genetically equipped to carry the Uchiha legacy forward, but also emerges as a rare voice of clarity in a world overtaken by illusion. As others fall prey to artificial emotions and false memories, Sarada becomes a narrative anchor. The chapter brings us back to the present moment, shifting from retrospective reflection to immediate action. For the first time, we witness Sarada actively wielding her Mangekyo Sharingan in combat, signaling the emergence of her awakened self not only as a shinobi, but as a leader. The battle against Ryu becomes the crucible through which her growth is tested, both in terms of her power and her identity. As the confrontation with Ryu unfolds, Sarada takes command of the battlefield. Mitsuki and Araya observe her closely as she insists they prioritize their own safety, declaring her intention to take on Ryu alone. Her assertion reveals not just confidence, but a newfound clarity about her role and capability. Mitsuki, visibly taken aback by the transformation in her eyes, remarks on her new ability, prompting Sarada to confirm, "Don't worry, I just awakened this power." In this moment, Sasuke's earlier prediction is fulfilled. Sarada was initially unaware of her Mangekyo awakening, yet she now navigates its abilities with instinctual precision, affirming the deep-rooted Uchiha bond between emotional experience and combat prowess. Ryu, meanwhile, is perplexed by the strange black sphere forming around Sarada. As his iron sand begins to get absorbed, he tries to catch her off guard with a strike from behind, only to witness another sphere neutralize his attack. His confusion grows as he realizes 4 of these gravitational orbs now surround her. Before he can react further, his body is forcibly lifted into the air, pulled toward one of the spheres. Sarada is now levitating. This scene marks a dramatic reversal of power. Ryu, who moments ago had the upper hand, is now completely at the mercy of an ability he does not understand. Mitsuki provides the audience with a critical analysis of Sarada's newfound technique. He deduces that the spheres are manipulating gravity, selectively targeting individuals and matter. Ryu, his iron sand, and Sarada herself are all affected, Mitsuki explains, but me, Araya, and the surrounding environment remain untouched. She's choosing the targets. This suggests that Sarada's control is not only powerful, but also incredibly precise, able to distinguish allies from enemies in real time. Such a refined command over gravitational forces immediately places her Mangekyo among the most sophisticated iterations we've seen. Ryu, now rendered helpless, begins to grasp the scale of Sarada's strength. For the first time, Sarada confronts her own past, her tendency to withdraw in moments of crisis, her fear of inadequacy, and her deep-seated avoidance of painful truths. She says, "For every calamity that occurred, I was always unable to do anything," she adds. "I didn't want to admit that I was actually powerless. I was scared to face that reality, so I turned away from it." These words are more than personal confessions. They're the emotional key to her evolution. Her power, like all Mangekyo awakenings, is born from emotional upheaval. But what sets her apart is her willingness to acknowledge and grow from it. Her internal reckoning leads her once again to recall Sumire's confession of love for Boruto and the lingering questions in her own heart. Though unspoken, the suggestion is clear. Sarada's denial of romantic feelings may have been a self-imposed form of restraint, one rooted in her belief that such emotions were incompatible with her dream of becoming Hokage. Ryu, increasingly frustrated by her introspection, lashes out with another iron sand attack, mocking her with, "What's up with all this emo girl talk?" Yet Sarada's response is not defensive, it is resolute. She increases the gravitational force of the spheres, immobilizing Ryu completely. "If you run away from yourself, you can't confront the truths in front of you. You can't save a single person," she declares. These words are a clear callback to what Yodo told her before and speak to a broader theme, that self-acceptance is the foundation of leadership. Jura watches from a distance as Sarada, now in full command, utterly overwhelms Ryu. His final words, "I am unable to lift a single finger," underscore his complete subjugation. Sarada closes the confrontation with a declaration that encapsulates her transformation. "Becoming a Hokage is my dream, so first, I've got to start by accepting myself." We learn at this climactic moment that her ability is named Ohirume. As the gravitational sphere engulfs Ryu, he is annihilated in a devastating explosion, a manifestation of the power Sarada now fully embodies. After the battle, Sarada collapses midair, unconscious from chakra depletion. Mitsuki reacts swiftly, extending his hand to catch her before she hits the ground. He and Araya realize the toll the battle has taken on her, and note the formation of Ryu's Togadama, the mark of his defeat. This scene, though quiet, punctuates Sarada's triumph, not only in battle, but in finally stepping into the role she's been destined for. The narrative transitions to a tense moment of aftermath and consequence, as Ada informs Boruto and Kashin Koji that Ryu has been defeated, taken down by Sarada's newly awakened Mangekyo ability. The tone of the scene shifts from triumph to strategic reflection, with Sarada's awakening being framed not only as a personal victory, but as a critical milestone in the overarching battle plan. Kashin Koji reacts to the news with cold satisfaction. One of the most important outcomes of this battle was having her accomplish that feat. He states, immediately reducing Sarada's emotional and physical struggle to a checkbox in a larger scheme. His detachment is especially glaring in light of Yodo's sacrifice, something he regards as a necessary cost rather than a loss. Once again, Koji's identity as a utilitarian figure becomes clear. Lives are expendable, so long as they serve his strategic ends. Ida, visibly discontented with Koji's lack of empathy, challenges his perspective. Above all else, huh? It's a shame about Yodo, though, she remarks, subtly condemning the cold calculus of his decisions. Koji, unfazed, rationalizes his choices. It couldn't be helped. Her sacrifice made great contributions to the overall outcome. It wasn't made in vain. This confession confirms what was already implied. Koji foresaw Yodo's death and allowed it, deeming her expendable for the sake of Sarada's evolution. Boruto, disturbed by Koji's pragmatism, presses him with a pointed question. Hey, wait, Koji. Answer me truthfully. Was there a future where everyone lived and Sarada still awakened her power? The tension in the air thickens as both Boruto and Ida fix their eyes on Koji, awaiting a response that could redefine their understanding of recent events. Koji evades a direct answer, instead offering a strategic justification. At the very least, I'll say this. If you had attempted to provide backup, Sarada would have never awakened it. Boruto, unwilling to accept such logic, confronts Koji again. So you knew and didn't say anything about it? You said nothing to me about Yodo ending up like this? His outrage reflects a growing divide, one between tactical efficiency and moral responsibility. Koji, however, remains unwavering. I judged there was no reason to tell you, and right now you've led me to the understanding that my judgment was not mistaken. His words are clinical, void of remorse. Boruto sees them for what they are, an excuse for indifference. The conversation takes a darker turn when Boruto, increasingly agitated, demands to know the fate of Konohamaru. What's happening to Konohamaru-sensei? Can he win against Matsuri? Koji offers no reply, a silence that speaks volumes. Boruto repeats the question, his urgency mounting. I asked you a question, but Koji deflects, shifting the subject entirely. The implication is chilling. Just as with Yodo, Koji has already accepted Konohamaru as a necessary loss. His silence is a verdict. Instead of addressing the immediate concern, Koji warns Boruto of a greater threat. Jura. Listen to this instead, Boruto, he begins. Jura shares senses with the other Shinju on the battlefield. If you show yourself in front of Matsuri, you will be noticed immediately by Jura. And you'll be killed. I saw several patterns with that conclusion. In Koji's mind, the bigger picture outweighs any individual rescue mission. But Boruto, driven by instinct and loyalty, is not bound by Koji's logic. The scene shifts to the battlefield, where Konohamaru is at Matsuri's mercy. Her rage is palpable as she prepares to deliver the finishing blow. How dare you trick me, you scumbag! I won't forgive you. Her tentacles have already pierced both of Konohamaru's arms. But just as the situation seems irreversibly grim, a shuriken strikes her shoulder. Boruto has arrived. What follows is a moment of sheer, incomprehensible speed. In an instant, Boruto closes the distance and slices Matsuri into pieces. Neither Matsuri nor Konohamaru are able to perceive his movement. Konohamaru's gaze remains fixed on the position where Boruto once stood, even as his attacker is defeated, proof of a speed that defies understanding. Koji watches from afar, disapproving. That hard-headed brat, he mutters. Does he really want to make all of our efforts naught? His frustration lies not just in Boruto's disobedience, but in the disruption of his precisely calculated plan. Where Koji operates through foresight and probability, Boruto acts from conviction, a clash of ideologies that is becoming increasingly central to the narrative. In the final moments of the chapter, Jura thinks, "So you have appeared, Otsutsuki Boruto, marking the beginning of a new threat." With Jura's awareness now fixed on Boruto, the battlefield is poised for yet another dramatic escalation. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more content like it, be sure to hit that like button. It really helps boost the channel's visibility. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Most importantly, I want to hear from you. Share your thoughts, theories, and reactions in the comments below. Thanks for watching.